From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang. We are giving way to a presidential coverage. Here is Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. as he leads the incineration of seized illegal drugs at the Clean Leaf International Corporation in Capas, Tarlac.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Pag-destroy sa mga nahuling drugs. Kaya dahil kailangan tiyakin natin na yung mga nahuhuling drugs ay talagang sinisira at wala nang pag-asa na bumalik pa na maibenta pa, na makuha, ibang i-report. Alam naman natin kung ano yung mga ibang pangyayari na nakikita natin. Kaya that's why I'm here today, just to see how the system works, para very, very solid yung system natin from the capture and of the illegal drugs all the way until the destruction of the illegal drugs also. So ito pa, ngayon ko lang nakita ito, so I was very interested to see. This will be, the chamber's temperature will be raised to 700 degrees Celsius, which is hot enough to destroy all of the active elements within the drug. So after nainit ng 700 degrees Celsius, it will not be shabu anymore, it will not be marijuana anymore, it will not be any drug anymore. Hindi na talaga, sirang-sira na ito. So that's what we are here to witness. At this point, matagal pa ito, iinit pa ito for another 10 hours. No? 10 hours. Tapos mag-aantay tayo ng 12 hours bago palalamigin ulit para makita kung naubos na talaga yung ating sinunog. Kapag may nakita na may traces pa, ay babalik nila, uulitin na lang nila para talagang sirang-sira. Pero papalagay ko, with 700 degrees, with that long period of time, 10 hours na linuluto, palagay ko makikita natin na sira na talaga yan. And that's why we are here today. So I'm glad that the press is here para makita ninyo kung ano ba talaga ang sistema. I'm also happy that I was able to get the opportunity na makapunta rito para makita ko rin ang buong sistema from the capture all the way until its destruction. Maraming salamat. Thank you. Good morning.
You just listened to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the incineration of seized illegal drugs at the Clean Leaf International Corporation in Capas, Tarlac.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Moving on with the Dateline news broadcast, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said that the administration's war against illegal narcotics is yielding results with 62 billion pesos worth of shabu recovered in the last 3 years, saving thousands of Filipinos from addiction and overdose. During his visit to the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA National Headquarters in Quezon City, President Marcos inspected over 8.87 billion million pesos in recovered floating shabu weighing more than 1.3 tons that had been intercepted off the coast of Luzon in recent months by alert local fishermen who turned them into authorities. He uploaded coastal communities' alertness and emphasized the importance of the public in the government's comprehensive anti-drug campaign, which focuses on prevention, rehabilitation, and ongoing law enforcement. The president said that although taking a less brutal approach, enforcement remains strong at all levels, from syndicates to street pushers.
Ngunit at least masasabi natin dito sa ganitong kalaki na nahuli natin na dapat ipapasok sa Pilipinas na shabu, marami tayong nailigtas na mga kababayan natin na kung lumabas ito, ang mangyayari ay marami na namang magiging addict, marami na namang mamamatay sa overdose, marami na namang masisira ang buhay. And I continue to encourage all the drug board authorities, the PDEA authorities, and of course the police, that we must continue with the war against drugs, but we keep it in a peaceful, we do it in a peaceful way. So that is what we are continuing to do. We are hitting the drug trade at the highest level and at the lowest level. And we are beginning to see some measure of success. Kaya ipapagpatuloy natin ito.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. asked the media on Tuesday to witness the destruction of billions of dollars worth of seized illegal drugs in order to assure transparency and keep them off the underground market. To mitigate such risk, the president highlighted that all confiscated drugs must be properly disposed of, noting processes that necessitate the presence of witnesses and adherence to forensic and documentation requirements.
What we will do now, titiyakin natin, ay ang proper disposal nitong mga drogang ito para hindi babalik sa black market, hindi babalik sa street market, basta't hindi na lalabas, sisirain na natin. According to PDEA, we will be destroying, I would suggest that the press attend that. The destruction of the drugs. Para makita ninyo, kasi maraming nagsasabi at marami tayong dati, ngayon hindi na nagagawa. Ngunit dati, alam natin, pag may nahuli, sabihin natin 100 kilos, ang nagiging, ang sinisira na lang, kung ano-ano ng balot ang ginagawa, ngunit 20 kilos na lang. Yung 80 kilos na natira, ay lalabas na naman yan, maipagbibili pa rin. So that is what we are trying to avoid. So the press has a very important role in this. Puntahan ninyo.
The drug search include approximately 1.3 tons of shabu found off the coastlines of Zambales, Pangasinan, Ilocos, and Cagayan will be incinerated at a facility in Capas, Tarlac using thermal decomposition. Along with the shabu, around 609 million pesos in court-ordered confiscated pharmaceuticals and expired prescriptions would be burned. President Marcos underlined that the fight against narcotics is more than just arrest. It is also about breaking the loop completely, including ensuring that confiscated substances are burned. Reinforced his directive to law enforcement authorities to patrol the country's beaches to prevent additional drug smuggling via maritime channels.
Dateline Malacañang.
The first batch of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs repatriated from the Middle East amid rising regional tensions arrived in the country on Tuesday evening. 31 repatriates, 26 from Israel, 3 from Jordan, 1 from Palestine, and 1 from Qatar arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3 via Qatar Airways flight QR934 from Amman, Jordan at 7:30 in the evening. The group was originally scheduled to arrive at 8:20 Tuesday morning but was briefly delayed due to the temporary closure of Qatar's airspace following Iran's missile strike on a United States airbase in Doha on Monday. In a press briefing, the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak also said the second batch of 50 OFWs is expected to arrive later this week, while another 20 are currently being processed. Kakdak and Assistant Secretary Venecio Legaspi traveled with the OFWs from Jordan and personally ensured their safe passage back to the Philippines. He said the repatriation efforts amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran is in compliance with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to ensure the safety and security of OFWs during crisis situations. Each repatriate received 150,000 pesos in financial support, 75,000 pesos each from the DMW and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA. The workers were also given immediate airport assistance, including temporary accommodations and transport to their home provinces. OWA Chief Patricia Yvonne Kaunan, together with Department of Health or DOH Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD Undersecretary Monina Josefina Romualdez, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA Deputy Director General Felizardo Colombo, and Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Assistant Secretary Robert Ferrer welcomed the OFWs and provided on-the-spot medical, psychological, and reintegration services. Herbosa said the DOH will provide medical services and assistance to one cancer patient repatriate and one pregnant OFW, including a mental wellness checkup to ensure their overall well-being. The DMW, through its National Reintegration Center for OFWs, will also assist the repatriates in establishing their livelihood ventures or finding alternative employment opportunities aside from the free skills training vouchers from TESDA and business trainings from the Department of Trade and Industry. For those seeking local employment, the Department of Labor and Employment is prepared to assist them in terms of placement and job matching. The repatriates from Israel crossed the King Hussein Bridge into Jordan before flying home, supported throughout by Philippine embassies, migrant workers offices or MWOs, and OWA welfare officers in Israel, Jordan, and Qatar. Secretary Kakdak recognized the one-country coordinated efforts by concerned government agencies for the safe and successful repatriation of the OFWs from conflict-affected areas in the Middle East. DMW Undersecretary Felicitas Bay meanwhile said out of more than 30,000 OFWs in Israel, 311 have requested repatriation so far. Let us listen to the message of Department of Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak upon his arrival at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport along with the first batch of repatriated overseas Filipino workers.
Si President, since day one, this goes back all the way to October 7 nung lumusob ang Hamas sa Israel. Nag-carry over sa June 13 attack on Iran. And then, of course, itong aming naranasan sa Qatar bago pa umalis, gawa nung atake rin ng Iran sa Qatar. The whole time, the President has been monitoring and always asking about the well-being of our OFWs. Nagbibigay siya ng payo, nagbibigay siya ng direktiba, nangangamusta yung eroplano. Until gumalaw yung eroplano, nangangamusta pa rin si Presidente. Umalis na ba talaga? Paalis na ba talaga kayo? Ganyan. So, he has always been mindful of how we take care of our OFWs and whatever challenges we face, he provides the corresponding advice and support. Yes, yung ating effort is full of government all around, and that starts with the care and the services that are provided on site. Ang ating one country team approach led by our DFA ambassadors in Israel, in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Qatar, and all the other places, no, where the help is most needed. The help is needed. So, nandun na lamang yung ating mag-mobilize ng maraming samot-saring resources, personnel, monetary or material resources para makatulong. So, halimbawa sa Israel, ganap ang ating pagbibigay ng shelter. Meron tayong 4 na shelters ngayon na 2 na may laman ng mga OFWs. Higit kumulang 53 na yung nai-shelter natin. Pero meron 2 nakaabang. Wala pang laman, nakaabang just in case. And then, of course, meron tayong financial assistance at food packs as announced by the President na pinamamahagi. And meron din tayong mga ito, yung repatriation transport efforts in country, in host country. Halimbawa, yung pag-transport sa kanila from itong grupo na ito from Israel, from Tel Aviv to the Israeli-Jordanian border. So, patuloy, ganap yung efforts, and then upon arrival pa, yun, napakahalaga din kay Presidente, yung arrival at reintegration ng mga OFWs natin. As far as we know, umabot na ng halos 300, and at least 50 are travel ready. And there will be a second batch coming soon. So yung binibigay nating financial assistance is up to 2 months for the Israeli returnees. But for the other skill sets like domestic workers, let's say from Lebanon or Jordan, that could extend to up to 6 months pantawid na financial na tulong. Yung financial assistance yan, hindi lang yan for the sake of financial assistance. Habang may pantawid na financial assistance, andyan yung kay Testa DG Kiko Benitez, pwede sila mag-training habang tinatawid namin sila with the financial assistance para pagtapos na yung period ng financial assistance, ay tapos na rin sila sa kanilang mga test na trainings, and they could prepare themselves for local or overseas employment.
Department of Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakadak.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, assured that the Philippine government stands ready to provide immediate assistance, including repatriation, financial support, and reintegration aid to overseas Filipino workers or OFWs affected by the rising tensions between Iran and Israel. OWA Administrator Patricia Yvonne Kaunan said this during a press briefing on Tuesday at the OWA main office in Pasay City. Kaunan noted that many OFWs are still weighing their options whether to avail of the Philippine government's voluntary repatriation program due to safety concerns or personal and employment considerations. Kaunan emphasized that the government's assistance extends to both documented and undocumented workers. Each of the returning OFWs under the first batch will receive 150,000 pesos in financial assistance from OWA and DMW, and will also be provided food, hygiene kits, counseling, and temporary shelter upon arrival. Kaunan said that more than 470 OFWs in Israel have already received assistance on the ground. Meanwhile, Kaunan said affected OFWs may reach authorities via the DMW OWA hotline 1348 and their social media channels for real-time updates and guidance. She also urged the public to rely only on official sources and avoid spreading misinformation. Kaunan also assured that the government has enough resources to assist OFWs affected by the Middle East conflict.
We did, first for context, we have 30,000 plus OFWs in Israel. And the number that OIC Secretary Bai just said, about 311. That's around roughly 1%. Right? Since there was an imposition of alert level 3, what I think yung umakyat is the confirmed repatriation. Why? Because we do receive calls. Our embassy, our offices, OWA, and DMW. And after those calls of initial repatriation, we call them back if they are really sure that they want to be repatriated. So based on those calls, we have confirmed, of course, the first 26, and then this additional 50, and then another 20. So if you look at it, around 96 out of the 311. So it's really less than 1% that we're dealing with right now. We do receive calls as well from families of our OFWs, not just in Israel, but also in parts of Middle East, even Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Especially with what happened earlier this morning, there were a lot of messages as well from OFWs in Doha. So we're I think yun yung umakyat because initially 26 lang yung gusto umuwi. So ngayon we have around an additional 7. We also give assistance. Nagbibigay tayo ng tulong sa ating mga kababayan na nasa Israel. Kahit na pakaunti lang yung gusto talagang magpa-repatriate, yung ating Migrant Workers Office katuwang, of course, led by our Philippine Embassy, no, our ambassador, yung ating labor attaché, our welfare officers, tumutulong sila by giving financial assistance on the ground sa mga naaapektuhan nating mga OFWs dahil sa pagbobomba doon sa Israel. Also, we provide temporary accommodation, food packs, hygiene kits, counseling, no? So, as of date, nakapagbigay na tayo ng assistance sa humigit kumulang 470 nating kababayan sa Israel.
Overseas Workers Welfare Administration o Administrator Patricia Yvonne Kaunan.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine government is fast-tracking the implementation of fuel subsidies to protect public utility drivers, or PUVs, farmers and fishermen from the effects of increased fuel prices amid Middle Eastern tensions. Sharon Garin, officer in charge of the Department of Energy, or DOE, stated Tuesday that the government is cooperating with appropriate departments to finalize the distribution of subsidy programs. This comes after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. met with his economic team to analyze the probable impact of the Iran-Israel conflict on domestic petroleum supply and costs. According to Garin, 2.5 billion pesos has been set aside for PUV drivers and operators, with 600 million pesos going to farmers and fishermen. She did, however, clarify that the ultimate amount that each beneficiary will receive is still being determined. The DOTR has already identified the beneficiaries and is ready to release the monies as soon as it obtains the go-ahead. When asked if the release may happen within a week, Garin deferred to DOTR and DA, stating that collaboration with banks and logistical arrangements are still being finalized. Regarding the broader impact of the Middle East crisis, Garin said that the Marcos administration is considering a variety of eventualities, including a worst-case scenario in which the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global oil shipping route, is blocked. Despite the lingering uncertainty, Garin stated that the president's principal focus is the well-being of regular Filipinos.
Ang utos pa rin ng presidente is we make sure that we protect the Filipino people from the impact of the oil price hike. Meaning po, most especially those na gumagamit ng public utility vehicles, our farmers and our fisher folk. So we will, as we are gathered here today, we also have an ongoing meeting with DOTR and DA and LTFRB to make sure that whatever happens, whether it happens, if it happens, we are ready to give the to distribute the subsidies to our PUV drivers, operators, farmers, and fisher folks po. Wala pang definite na amount. Ang definite lang doon is we have 2.5 billion pesos for subsidy for PUVs. But that is the individual distribution, kung magkano tatanggapin ng kada recipient. It depends siguro kung sino ang makakatanggap at ilan ang makakatanggap. Currently, DOE, DA, and DOTR are meeting, and DOTR is also hard at work determining the number of recipients, kung sino ba talaga yung makakatanggap. But I think DOTR already identified, and now they're just finishing up the listing yata. But as pronounced by DOTR, they're ready to disperse anytime that the signal is given to them.
These announced fuel price increases of up to 5 pesos and 20 centavos per liter, blaming rising worldwide prices caused by the escalating conflict and the United States expanding engagement. The DOE already arranged with oil companies to spread the price increases out into 2 tranches this week in order to ease the load on consumers. The Middle East is still a major supplier of oil of the Philippines, therefore any geopolitical turmoil in the region poses a serious danger to local energy security and economic stability.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, for Dateline Malacañang, the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, or CICC, warned the public against a fake video circulating online that shows Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. endorsing an online trading platform. According to the CICC, their technical review confirmed that the video used deepfake technology to show that the president is endorsing the trading platform. The post was found out to have originated from a Facebook page under the account Inquirer PH Insider and is operating overseas. A link can also be found in a page that leads to an e-commerce site that is not connected to the platform. The CICC immediately coordinated with a social media platform to take down the said misleading content that aims to deceive the public. Following this incident, the CICC encourages the public remain vigilant to what they see online, especially when this is related to government officials.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila. Dateline Malacañang.